PNC and move on to the other international footy that's happening closer to home, as in Dublin. We have World Cup
games.
That is
closer to home.
Yeah,
than Suva.
Than Suva for sure. Yeah, it's a little nearer. But yeah, Saturday afternoon, 2:00, Ireland are playing Italy. The first of our warm-up games in advance of the World Cup. I expect it'll be the usual lower intensity kind of stuff that you see from World Cup warm-up games, but it'll be interesting to see some of these combinations. Luke Pearce is going to be reffing at the helm.
Got nothing mean to say about Luke Pearce.
No, he's
perfectly reasonable referee.
Yeah, I actually have a lot of time for him. I think he refs a good game. Also, the return of one of my favourite players from Italy, little Matteo Minozzi.
Yeah, get him out there.
We missed all season long because Italy were really impotent without him.
It's good news for Italy because it means none of that negative wasps juice has spilled out on him yet.
Yes.
That
horrible wasps juice.
Yeah, you don't need that.
Seeps into the players'
brains. You don't need that. Yeah. Exactly. But I'd love to see Minozzi out there. He's legitimately one of the most exciting attacking footballers in Europe.
True.
And he happens to be an Italian, so like Italy should be throwing him into the starting jersey and giving him the captaincy and the freedom of the country.
Posters everywhere.
This guy is going to be crucial if Italy are to do. I mean, South Africa and New Zealand, there's only so much you can do, but if they're to do anything, this guy's going to be crucial to it.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to see him out there. I would encourage them to get him out there and straight away at fullback and get him on the ball.
He scored tries against Ireland. He's only played them once.
Yeah.
And
tries plural, I believe it was, wasn't it?
Was it? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So I'm excited to see him back. But the usual suspects for Italy will be the busiest ones. You know, your Negris, your Pelledris, Bromstein. Definitely, he needs to go well for them to go well.
That's a full back row, but we haven't mentioned Parise. I believe one or two of those guys can move into the second row, and that's why they accommodate Captain Sergio.
Bromstein sometimes
does he
in the row.
But yeah, I'd like to think that they could start that trio as a back row, but
I think it's probably a superior back row. It's another, like, I'm not about throwing shade on Parise, but he's not at his height, and he's old now. Whereas those three are genuinely in their prime, very athletic, very physical.
Yeah,
get through a ball load of work. If you were to pick those three as your back row for Italy, it probably improves things a little. Yeah. But you do lose the intangible Captain Sergio buzz, which well, it's something that I think Conor O'Shea does value as the squad man and as the ambassador for Italian rugby that he is. So I'm not ready to call time on that yet either.
In terms of on the pitch stuff for Italy to work on, their game isn't quite rounded enough. They have a decent little attacking shape and structure with Tommy Allen at 10, but virtually no kicking game, which is where Tito Tebaldi comes in at 9. Their line-out is actually pretty good, and Bram Stein is a great Peter O'Mahony roller. He's a good little jackler of the line-out. So he's a good guy to have in there. Their scrum is shaky at best. It can be bullied, especially by a side as elite as Ireland in that area. And then the main area of concern for Conor O'Shea that we're going to look for signs of improvement on is just defence.
It's not even defence. Tackling.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. Like, I didn't even see during the Six Nations that their defensive system broke down, because every time they were conceding tries, they were numbered up. They were just missing tackles.
That's why in the off season you would sooner see them, rather than running drills through cones and at tackle bags, you'd sooner have seen them go on like a 3-week crash course in how to tackle. I feel like
crazy. They're the least good. Like, even when you watch. Like, obviously they're a tier 2 side in a tier 1 comp, and that plays its part in making them look worse than maybe they are.
100%. That's true.
But you never see the like of it. Some of the loose ass tackling.
On Jordan Larmour in Chicago last year, like, as good as Jordan is,
great highlight and stuff. But it's like, how did
this guy is like 5'6". I don't know. He's not that, but he's like a tiny little guy, and he's just shrugging you off from a standing start, and away you flop. And there's too much of that from the Italians. They're tackling, especially in advance of a World Cup pool involving South Africa and the Springboks, needs to be sharper, and especially in the middle of the park. That centre combination of Marisi and Campagnaro,
which is better ball in hand than they've looked for years, but they're just not as good in tackle. They need to tackle your centres. You gotta tackle, boys. Like, Campagnaro is so great ball in hand, but
he's a big guy,
and he's a big guy, but he's a really soft tackler, very tame. So I expect there are inroads for Ireland, for ourselves,
and that's just something that if it'd be nice to see that improve. Obviously, in the context of these games, the teams are emerging from camps and they've been emerging. You're going to see the first inklings of their plans.
Yeah,
and that'll be something that you would look at as something that you would need to see Italy improve on if we're to honestly say they have any hope, which I don't think we really can.
I can't really claim that
they
want to secure third though.
Yeah, automatic qualification.
It's important.
It's just eminently doable. They have, I think, Namibia and Canada.
Yeah,
it
should be doable. Yeah, so that'll be a successful World Cup should they do that. But you're right in saying they'll want to shore up some of their tackling games so that they're not getting completely humiliated by the Box and the All Blacks, which they may end up getting humiliated a little bit. But
that happens.
That happens.
But certainly for their own sanity and their own improved performance, you'd like to see something along those lines. From Ireland's perspective, there's interesting news this week actually in that their 45-man squad is cut to 43.
Yeah,
with
was it Delan and Rory Scannell have been sent home.
Rory Scannell's
a Rory Scannell fan.
Well, I think I knew this. We all knew he wasn't going to go to the World Cup.
He just hasn't been getting the minutes.
Yeah, he should have been given more minutes.
You were saying in place of all those McCluskey minutes.
Yeah,
it should have been Scannell minutes.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I think if we're to fold at the World Cup and our lack of distribution is a reason for that, that'll be one of the quiet things that Joe might have missed in the last 4 years, was the opportunity to make their centres more creative by introducing this very good two-footed passing, playmaking, hardy, great 12, who unfortunately never got a look in and is now out to the squad.
Yeah,
it happens.
As for Ultan Delan, I think that's appropriate. I think he's not quite.
I never thought he was in Joe Schmidt's plans.
No. So he's gone released back to Connacht. So yeah, that's the first of the cuts.
There will be more ones to come.
Yeah, so they only get harsher from here. But it's interesting. Like Ireland obviously won't name their side until the witching hour, as is Joe's way. So we don't have access to the team right now.
He's actually going to have the boys run out in balaclavas.
Yeah,
it's Sexton.
Big reveal. I'm curious to see who they pick. In the back row, do we err on side of Ruddock?
There's a few guys you need to run out. It's a curious one because the Italy game, there's only so much value in handing minutes to anybody in the Italy game. The other three games are going to be more dangerous and more valuable in terms of giving guys minutes and chances to prove themselves. There's just not a whole lot to prove against Italy in Dublin. So
a few tries to be grabbed.
Yeah,
Keith Earl's hat-trick,
Yeah, well, I'm curious to see what they do. I mean, if they give the likes of Jack Carty or Ross Byrne this game to start, I almost think those two would be deflated by that. They'd be like, no, please give me the game against England or one of the games against Wales, because you can't prove yourself against Italy.
All you can do is hurt your chances by having a poor outing.
100%.
That's probably fair. No, there's still a challenge to be done. They have to amend some of the stuff they didn't. They didn't put in an emphatic performance against Italy in the Six Nations just gone. They kind of limped to a victory over them. But then it was a very, very poor Six Nations from Ireland's point of view.
And it was coming off the back of a lot of convincing performances against Italy, a load of them in the years prior.
Yeah, so they'll want to remedy that this time around for sure at home and in Aviva Stadium. They'll want to be scoring some tries. I'm just curious to see what they do in terms of the back line. Do they opt for, now that Scannell's gone, obviously the mould of centre that we're going for is very hardy crash ball. If it's Aki or Henshaw at 12, they kind of provide a similar very hard nosed kind of route. And then on the outside of that, do you want Ringrose? Do you want Farrell? Who do you want? How does that combination work? Who are they going for at fullback then this week?
Yeah, well, this is the thing, is that I think the whole thing, I think we made this point around Six Nations time, but it bears repeating because this is going to be an important factor, I think, in how Ireland go. It's just understanding about getting the mixture of a backline right so that you can create space and attack well as being solid defensively and physically imposing. And there is a mixture to it. You see with the box can pick, Delindy and Am, two non-distributors. I mean, Am can pass. He's a very smart player, one of the best 13s in the game.
Similar to Farrell.
Yeah,
can pass.
Similar to Chris Farrell is a great point, and a great defender like Chris Farrell.
Yeah.
But those two are physical presences, both of a similar mould in the centre. But they can afford to do that because they have a second distributor in Philly LaRue who comes in from fullback and serves as a foil off Pollard and everything else and can link to the back three.
Yes.
That's crucial.
Yeah.
Now there's other teams work it differently, and Ireland obviously have to consider the value that Rob Kearney has had to the structure of their defence in terms of covering the backfield. And as a weapon under the high ball as well, an offensive weapon that they can use. They value Rob Kearney, and I appreciate that. But in the absence of anybody providing that role for fullback, what you can't do is pick a centre partnership, the likes of Bundy, Aki and Chris Farrell, or Robbie Henshaw and Chris Farrell, or Robbie Henshaw and Bundy Aki, any one of those three, because none of them are distributing players.
Basically, by picking Kearney at fullback, which it looks like we're going to do, it makes Gary Ringrose undroppable.
Makes him undroppable and makes him have to play as a distributor.
Yeah, which is very tough because he's actually not had a great season. Chris Farrell, to my mind, is the form 13.
I agree.
But you can't pick Chris Farrell and Rob Kearney and Bundy Aki because nothing's going to be created.
The compromise that they've tried to do is give Bundy Aki more of a distributing role, but he really isn't comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
And even Gary isn't ideal with it. Like an informed Gary is great with it. So I guess what I'm saying is you can trust Gary Ringrose and put him in that role, and that's an okay system, especially if you're attacking a team through the middle, like probably they will be against the Scots in the opening day.
And possibly Japan as well.
But if it's a game against the likes of South Africa or New Zealand where there's less space in the middle, as much as you value Rob Kearney, just the way you structure a team, you're not going to be able to attack effectively if you don't have another distributor on. And that's where Joey Carbery comes in. Yeah. Joey Carbery is a very capable 15. It's to this day, it has been one of the craziest rugby stories of the year that this has Ireland have had a crisis backing up Rob Kearney. They've picked Robbie Henshaw out of position, and he's had a Horlicks of it. They've dabbled
brought in
Will Addison as fullback cover. Will Addison is a wild card that could serve that Carbery role, but for me Carbery should be fullback cover and should for some crucial games start at fullback. And every time in his professional career that he has started at fullback, he's looked great. Yeah, has a great kicking game, great catching
links
game.
Well with Sexton. Yeah. We saw it up with Leinster that year that we were absolutely the best team in Europe. Undeniably, a lot of that was with Joey Carbery and fullback, both on the pitch.
Yeah,
it's crazy to me that hasn't even been mentioned, but it just seems not to be an option in Joe's mind. He's very rigid on what he thinks his 15 looks like or what he wants Joey doing.
That's the thing, is I love to see. I think it would also free us up to pick an extra out half, which would be important to give Johnny some rest minutes if you can have Carbery in as a back three cover. So then you could maybe let Conway go or someone like let them cut them from the squad instead of the extra 10. So you could bring Jack Carty and afford Johnny some rest minutes if he needs them.
True.
Doesn't have to be in the squad every week. So I think that's vital as well. So there's a lot of reasons why I'd love nothing more than to see, more than any other selection, Joey Carbery at 15.
This side of the World Cup. Just
this week. Yeah. This week, give him minutes, because that's one thing, like we say the Italian minutes aren't valuable, but just getting him in that 15 jersey would be great.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it.
Now, that being said, I think you're not going to see it.
Probably not.
I think that's actually far removed from what the plan is, and we're going to go full steam ahead with the current system into the World Cup. And may the chips fall where they may. But you're right in saying it is one of the more baffling things, and it's more baffling that I just don't hear it said more often. Because he did literally look his best ever at 15 in a blue jersey for Leinster. That's his best ever games have come with that. So I don't know.
Yeah. So the idea that he's just not ever a fullback ever again because he moved to Munster, and that's just been final for everybody is very strange. And that would be something that I'd love to see.
Yeah.
I thought you mentioned Rhys Ruddock. I think it would be nice to see him get a chance to stake a claim before they cut either him or Jordy Murphy. I'd like to see both of those guys get a game.
Oh no, here's one that and you want to see Joey Carbery named at 15. This is what I like. I was very encouraged off the ball. Jamie Heaslip had an interview where he was just kind of threw it in there, going like with Conan at number 8, and they were like, oh, you're picking Conan at number 8?
Yeah. And
Jamie Heaslip, one of, if not probably the best number 8 Ireland have ever produced, was just like, just kind of taken aback by it. Obviously Conan's a really good rugby player.
Yeah.
CJ's not. So I would argue not cutting one of Jordy and Ruddock, but actually just not bringing CJ at all. That's what I would like to see happen. Now that's again similar to the Joey thing. I suspect that's not going to happen.
No,
I think that one of those boys is going to be not on the
yeah,
brain.
it's a curious. I definitely don't devalue CJ to the extent that you do. Like I appreciate what you're saying, which is that he's very rigid. He doesn't have any footwork. Doesn't have great hands. Doesn't really pass the ball.
Doesn't read the game.
Can be huge on defense.
Can be big on defense.
Can be huge as a physical presence. Yeah. It's sort of like your Eben Etzebeth critique, where you're not a big Eben Etzebeth fan, and I can see why. But sort of like that in the same Big Safa kind of way. He has a way that he can influence games with raw physicality and work rate that has potentially a place. And certainly I think over the last 4 years where we've been with him, there's no chance that they're going to cut him from the squad. He's going to be in there somewhere. That said, I agree with you that I think Jack Conan should take the 8 jersey off.
Jack Conan should have the 8 jersey automatically. But I think Jordy Murphy's a better option at 8 than CJ as well. That's my point.
Yeah.
Jordy Murphy's a better footballer all round and gives you options because he can cover 7 as well.
Aren't you, like, if you phrase it a different way, aren't you more likely to be bullied in that position?
I'm not entirely sure. No, if Ruddock's there, no.
No, but if Jordy Murphy is, if Jordy Murphy might be a better 8 going forward, but going backwards, I think CJ has as many big steals in him as Jordy. And I think CJ has more dominant tackles in him than Jordy.
Possibly slightly more dominant tackles.
Slightly, he would have more dominant tackles.
But I'm picking a more balanced back row where I'm trusting Josh at 7 and Peter O'Mahony to be a nuisance all along. Yeah. And I think it's a much better back row. I have no time for number 8s that can't play football.
Yeah.
That's my problem. Like Kieran Reid was the greatest number 8 for years, and then his competition were the likes of Jamie Heaslip or
Toby Faletau,
Talupi Faletau, or Sergio in his prime. Parise. What is the common trend with all of these world-class number 8s is that they're wonderful footballers.
Dwayne Vermeulen is a magnificent number 8 without being a wonderful
Not
footballer.
A wonderful footballer, but he's a better footballer than CJ.
Yeah, but he's Dwayne Vermeulen.
He's still Dwayne Vermeulen. Yeah. Like, no, I'm not giving you that. Like, CJ is not Dwayne Vermeulen.
Shane feels passionately about this.
I feel passionately about this because I just don't like seeing him in there because I think there are just much better options. And it means that, like you're saying, like you have it phrased in the notes here that Ruddock and Murphy are fighting for one place on the plane.
They are.
And I'm like,
they are.
Why? Just leave CJ at home and bring both of them.
Yeah.
You know, that's my thing. But aside over, that's my take on it.
They are.
May the comments fall as they may.
Yeah, and they will.
Yeah.
They will. They'll get the Munster fans after you.
Yeah, I know.
You don't know what hit you. So that's a curious point. And outside of that, I think it's hard to say what Ireland are going to pick. I think even regardless of what the selection is, I would suspect a forward-oriented performance. I would expect dominance at the scrum.
Yeah.
And I think what we'd be hopeful to see is some better attacking shape. I think that's the most... Well, like for Italy, the most crucial thing that you want to see them do is get their defence right. For Ireland, the most crucial thing that they need to improve of. You're not going to learn anything about their forwards in this game. You're not going to learn anything about their back row, their scrum, their rucks. Just not going to learn. Are they going to implement some better attacking systems and shape? That's what we want to see. That's what we want to see on Saturday.
For every Irish fan, that is the real bugbear and the question mark, because the Six Nations was so shocking, really. Well, just very, very disappointing. But also, even the mould of the success that came in 2018 was not
missing a dynamic.
Missing a dynamic for sure, and it's what you were isolating at the very start, talking about that Rob Kearney axis. It's just. There's not a second distributor there, and as good as Murray and Sexton are when they're on form, it's still not enough to just be relying on the two of them. You need an extra playmaker in there.
You do. You need someone to link up with the back.
Yeah, and it's not good enough to have Rob Kearney be undroppable, and then therefore Gary's undroppable, even though he's not in great form.
Yeah, you have to be able to mix it up,
and you need to be a bit more flexible in that.
Balance.
Yeah.
Also, I'd love to see Jordan Larmour get a run out just because he always scores nice tries against Italy.
He does,
actually. See nice tries
against Italy.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No, we do. Mind you, Keith Earls always scores tries against Italy as well.
Keith Earls hasn't scored a try in years.
He'll pull one out of the bag against Italy though.
Maybe.
But yeah, no, I would actually be encouraged. I'd love to see Larmour get a go at 11, and then on the other wing, do you go with Jacob? Maybe give someone else a run out. Who else are vying for those jerseys out there?
Conway
is one.
He's put his hand up,
yeah.
And Addison is the other. I think Addison would be an interesting wild card. Short of seeing Joey at 15, seeing Addison at 15 would be interesting. Because while I prefer Joey as an option, Addison can feature in that distribution role.
Yeah,
he's a great wild card for the World Cup squad because he can play 13 as well if you need him.
He can. I'd rather he didn't for Ireland just because defensively. I think he's very soft tackler. Actually, like we were talking about with Campagnaro, as far as, well, he's better. He does stick his hits, but none of them are dominant. He goes backwards in the collision a lot of the time from 13.
Well, certainly from the attacking perspective, Addison has the potential to be a bolter that could spark up the offense. We're also likely to see John Klein.
We are, this week perhaps as well.
I don't know if he'll make the squad.
I can't imagine he will. Like, there's a lot of depth in that row.
For me, there's just an incumbent foursome that can't be infringed on.
At all. Yeah, and that's why Ulton Delan being cut wasn't too surprising at all. And I think John Klein is probably
it's Ty Burns' spot he's after.
Not a chance.
No way.
He doesn't have anywhere near what Ty Burn has in terms of the options he gives you. And Ty Burn can play 6 as well. No. No.
Dismissed.
Dismissed. Sorry, Sean. Like, Sean is a fine player. He's a hardy book, but he does have a bad habit of just kind of going absent for periods of games when he's rather necessary. So I'm happy with that foursome. Just to name them, yes, you're James Ryan, Dev Toner, Ian Henderson, and Ty Burn.
Yeah.
Four very, very solid row options.
I guess we don't really need to say it, but Ireland, we expect to take this one.
I expect to take this one, probably by around a disappointing 20 points.
Okay, that's not the most disappointing, but I can see how it might be. There's that.
That's my take on it. But we'll be more interested in how it goes, as is the case with all of these warm-up games. It's not even the result that it's about, it's more the picture that we're seeing, because this is the first insight we're going to get into what the grand plans are from both Schmidt's perspective and Conor O'Shea's.
100%. Yeah. Thanks for watching the Overlap Rugby podcast. If you enjoyed that video, please like down below and subscribe for more videos, and please enter the comments section to join our conversation. Thanks.